Good morning, everybody. It looks like we've got a good amount of people still getting logged in. So we've got Oksana with us here this morning from LMCU, and I am going to let her talk about her and her business a little bit, and then we'll get into the CMAs.
Good morning. Thank you, Joanna. Can I share my screen?
Yes, is it letting you?
Uh, yes.
Perfect.
All right, I'm gonna share this one. All right. Hmm. Let me see. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Uh-uh.
There it is. It's loading.
Okay, good.
It's loading. There, yep, we can see it.
You can see the first slide.
Yep.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Oksana. I'm a mortgage loan officer at Lake Michigan Credit Union, and I would like to share a little information about our special programs and promotions. A little bit of history at first. LMCU was established 91 years ago. We have been in Florida since 2015, and we already have 22 branches in Southwest Florida and Central Florida, and we're growing. The biggest difference between LMCU and any other local credit union is that we are a much bigger mortgage lender. We do offer all kinds of mortgage loans, conventional FHA, VA, but today I'd like to mention, as I said, special programs and promotional loans that other lenders may not have. So the most popular right now, especially, well, with my clients at least, is a Home Plus. This is a zero down, no PMI loan. No income limit. They don't have to be first-time home buyers, but this specific loan is only for specific areas. So it has to do with the subject property's location. And this is how we determine if the property qualifies. So first of all, the location has to be low to moderate income or high concentration of minorities. So we use this website right here in yellow, and we pretty much plug in the address. I'm going to give you some examples. Lehigh Acres, North Fort Myers, a lot of properties in those areas are eligible. I've been noticing a lot more in Cape Coral and Punta Gorda. So what we do, again, we put the address in, and I'm happy to share the link with you so you can check. And as long as this two, either or, the first one tracked income level has to say low to moderate, low or moderate, or minority percentage has to be over 50%. So as you can see, this property in Cape Coral would be eligible based on minority percentage. So when that happens, your clients can save quite a lot. And I looked up a specific property address. I just went on Zillow and pulled the Cape Coral address, and this is what I came up with. So I compared conventional FHA and our Home Plus. So on a conventional, 5%, yes, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can put as little as 3% down, but I used 5% on a conventional, 3.5% on FHA, and 0 down on Home Plus. Because mortgage rates on pretty much all loans right now are elevated, as you probably heard, because of the situation in Iran. Right now, there are so many more benefits to go with our Home Plus because you see the difference. The lowest rate would be on FHA when we compare this three. The lowest would be on FHA, but because there is no mortgage insurance on our Home Plus, the difference between the highest payment, which is on Home Plus, and the lowest payment, which is on an FHA, is only $25. And for this specific scenario, I used someone with a credit score of 650 because most of my clients, first-time home buyers, they don't have a perfect credit score. So I use 650 to be more conservative, and as you can see, the difference in payment is only $25, but it is saving them a lot on that down payment. And most of my first-time home buyers have very limited assets or savings. If they're getting a gift from a family, awesome. But most of them, again, don't have that much money to put down. Forget about closing costs. So we can help them save. We can help them still get into a home with no down payment, and later they can refinance out of this rate. So one more example for the property that would be eligible. So I used another Punta Gorda home. And as you can see, minority is very little, the percentage, but the income level area is moderate. So this property would qualify. So I want to remind you that we still have money for our own down payment assistance. It's actually between 10 to 15,000. This is for first-time homebuyers. They have to meet income limits, but combined with the Home Plus, we have saved a lot of money for a lot of first-time homebuyers. So a couple examples from my own experience. I had a buyer who closed and had to only bring $500 to closing because they qualified for down payment assistance and Home Plus with zero down, no PMI. And another one just recently, he had to bring only $750 to closing. So that's pretty awesome. I always get excited when I can help someone like that. So again, the biggest benefit of this down payment assistance is it does not have to be paid back. So yes, we do have other down payment assistance programs from Florida Housing, but most of those will either have to be paid back, they're not forgivable, or prorated, some portion of it has to be paid back. This one, again, really free money. They have to meet income limits, and you would think that, oh my God, income limits are probably quite strict. Not necessarily. I just had a single mom with two kids in Lee County. She's a teacher, and we'll look at the household income and the number of people in household. So she had three, right, herself and two kids, and she did not make more than $110,400 a year. So she would be a good candidate for this down payment assistance. I always check all first-time home buyers. I always check their household income to see if they qualify, because sometimes they may be eligible for 10,000, sometimes for 15,000. Next one is our biggest one right now, very limited time. This zero down, no PMI loan is for medical students that are graduating this spring. So if they already matched, which the match day was on March 20th, what are we at the end of the month? So apparently at this time they match for their residency. So they receive a match day letter that says you are going to do your residency at this specific hospital, let's say. So if they already matched, we can offer them up to 100% financing with no PMI, up to 650,000 loan amount. Well, these are young doctors that don't make much money yet. So we can still help them get into a home with very little to no down payment, as long as their credit score is 680 and it's a primary residence. So medical students that are graduating plus medical residents and fellows are also eligible. So if you have anybody in the medical field, spread the word. I can create a co-branded flyer for you with your name, so you can maybe ask them to post it in their break room. It can help, again, a lot of these doctors. For big doctors, for regular doctors and dentists, we do have zero down, no PMI loan. It's called a doctor dentist loan. So this is something that we've had for a while. And the biggest benefit of this loan is that their deferred student loans will not even be counted towards that debt to income ratio. So they probably have a lot of student loans, most of them, and we're not going to count it towards their debt to income ratio, which helps them qualify for a high amount. So keep that in mind. This is also new. I don't even have flyers yet. Our marketing is working on it. This is for tenure or tenure track college professors that are working at these universities that you can see on the slide. So in our area, it's Florida Gulf Coast University. If you know anyone that are working at any of these universities, again, we can create a flyer for you to spread the word. This is up 0% down, no PMI, great program for tenure track professors. And as a reminder, non-warrantable condos are still quite hot because a lot of communities in Florida are still struggling maybe a little bit recovered, kind of halfway. So we are seeing a lot of non-warrantable condos. If you have a deal that fell apart because of the financing, look for a lender that offers a non-warrantable condo. So that could be a deal saver for you. Lot loans, LMCU is very known for our lot loans because our terms are better than other lenders. I have not seen any other lender that would offer a lot loan with just 10% down payment. So we can do up to 300,000, or if the price is 500,000, up to 500,000, we can do with 20% down. And the reason is because we have a great construction loan. So we're hoping when they buy the lot, they come back to us to do a construction loan. And this is a reminder. Tomorrow, I will be there at the booth. If you guys want to talk about any of these programs or pick up some flyers or discuss some details about any specific scenarios that you have right now in your pipeline, feel free to stop by. And don't forget to register for April 17th Lunch and Learn. We will be teaching about mortgages. Well, it's a mortgage refresher. Most of you already have some basic information, so we just want to remind you about a little kind of policy, a little reminder about policies and guidelines. And
Oh
that's
my
that for me.
goodness. Oksana, that was like mortgage loan speed dating. Everything you guys have
Yeah,
possible.
that's a lot. A lot in
So
such a short period of time. I know.
there was one question from the group. They were wondering, when you were going through the different medical programs that are available, is that only for single family homes or do condos qualify for that as well?
Um, uh, yes, only for any property.
Any
Single
property.
family condominium. What do we have? 1 to 4 unit, as long as, well, doctors usually don't buy duplexes, right? But yes,
Yeah.
condominiums are eligible.
Perfect. Awesome. So as you guys can see, Oksana is so involved here at our association, all of our events. She does classes, education. So if you guys are coming out to TechCon tomorrow, go pick her brain, or even at the Dave and Buster's after event, grab her a drink and pick her brain, right? Thank you, sweetheart. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys. See you
Yeah.
tomorrow.
See ya.
Bye.
So what's great about the information that she's provided us today is it's good to know the loans that are, what's available out there. Does it apply to the property that you have? Because when you're sitting down to do these CMAs, you got to know what is available before you go out and price it, right? Like, are you going to be in a market that's very niche that is only cash buyers? Are you going to be in a situation where they've got a lot of opportunities for the buyers to come in and pick up that property? So glad that Oksana could sponsor us today to give you kind of a really good pulse on the market when it comes to mortgages. So today we're going to go through CMAs and having that great pricing conversation with your sellers. We have a lot of different programs here in the MLS that will help you collect data and really find the perfect price point that's going to be for your sellers. But a lot of times, I want you to keep in mind that we're not always doing CMAs just for our sellers. We're also doing it when our buyers are trying to figure out, what's going to be the best offer. Do these people, are they asking too much for the property? How do I feel comfortable in the offer I'm putting out? So you can really wear both hats when we're going through these products. We do have several, and then we have some really cool stuff that I'm going to show you too that is interactive for when you sit down with your sellers to help them kind of, find that middle ground. I think a lot of times we sit down and our sellers are like, hey, I want this much, and they're shooting for the moon. And we're like, all right, let's bring it back down to reality. And when you have the right tools, it's easier to have those conversations with your customers. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. And then while that fully loads, there we are. We're going to start right here on the dashboard and go through several different tools today. So we are going to start with RPR because it has a really, really great CMA tool in there. We're going to go through it from start to finish with a property so that you can see what that process looks like. We are also then going to kind of quickly go into Remine as well as MLS, and I will show you some pricing strategies that they have inside of Damas Analytics. But once we go through RPR first, you'll get the gist of what the steps are to use a CMA program, which most of the other programs have those same steps, but they all work differently and they all give different reports. So it depends on one, what you like best, but two, what your customer is most in need of. So as we start with RPR, the best thing about RPR is the CMA that it spits out. It can be very, very customizable. However, for my customers that I used to have that were very detail oriented and had 100 questions and needed a lot of hand holding, I loved RPR because it would spit out a 85-page CMA. Right? You're like, holy crow, who reads those? Well, you're detail oriented people who want hand holding. They are so impressed and blown away by this report. But what's great is you can go through this report, you can check things off, and you can bring it down to, a smaller report for those who just want the 30-foot view. They don't need all of those details. So what you're going to do first is bring up your subject property, your property in question here. So I'm going to go ahead. You can see we recently searched 250 Poe Ave. I pick on this property a lot. So pulling up that property and clicking on it in the search will bring up the entire property information. This is where you can kind of start to do your research if you don't know much about the property before you hop into the CMA. You can see the history on it. You can see what they believe the property is worth. And if you continue to scroll, there is a lot of information on this property. But you can also use this page to start taking notes. So let's say, you're at your desk, somebody calls in, they're like, hey, we're looking to sell. And they start kind of giving you some of the details before you go in and send them a CMA or before you go in and present. If any of the details have changed, you can type them here right on the first page, right? So like according to the public record, it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but they tell you, yeah, I've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home, and you're like, oh, okay, 2 baths. I believe public record says one. They're like, yeah, we added one on. They haven't updated it yet. Great. You can add into here and it'll keep this forevermore here, but you'll see that it also will pull that information right into the CMA for you later. So this is something that you can continue to work out of as you have conversations. You can add in your notes. You can add other rows for different pieces of information as well. So this is where you would start kind of your research. But up at the top, we've got the CMA button right here, which will bring you out to the CMA creator. Now you'll see in this property, and it also will promote, they've got a webinar coming up. So if you don't learn anything from me today, you can attend their webinar. All right, so scrolling down through here, what you will have is a checklist of 1 all the way down to 5. You can see I've already got answers in here because I started on this property before, but you will have the boxes here that says that you need to visit each of these sections. At the top, we've got CMA and advanced CMA. Most people stay right here in the CMA area. The advanced CMA is really for appraisers. This is a national tool that is utilized for both realtors and appraisers. So if you're looking for something a little bit more advanced, you can go for that advanced CMA. And it explains the differences right here if you're wanting to get into that kind of detail. All right, so first and foremost, I want you to confirm the home facts. So when you click into this button, you can see here the public record data. And then if you've made any changes, so just a moment ago, I wrote in that they have 2 baths, not 1 bath. So boop, right there, it's already pulled in all of my notes, all of my changes. If you've done that on the front page, it'll add all of that in here for you. Now, what's really cool is if this property is currently listed, right? Like maybe you're doing the CMA for your buyers, it'll pull in the listing data from the MLS as well so that you can compare and contrast. So maybe, you pulled it up on the MLS and the buyers are looking at it and it says it's a 3-2 and you get out here and it's a 2-1. You're like, uh-oh, wait, hold up. What's wrong? We got to check and see if there's permits missing, if the data's wrong, what's the deal with it? So when you're done, go ahead and click confirm home facts. And then the next step is going to be to search for comps. So what this does is gives you 2 options. First and foremost, you can add known properties. So again, RPR is a national tool and it's only going to pull in national fields to search. So not everybody has waterfront across the nation. We do here in our MLS, right? So I get this question a lot. Well, RPR doesn't have waterfront. They don't have golf access. They don't have no, they're a national tool. They're only going to pull in the national stuff. So there's a lot of times in the past where what I would do is run my search on the MLS, and then I would say add known property, and I would just plug them in here. right? Add them one by one, boop, they come over into your comps that you're being used. Done deal, right? I love using multiple tools because they all have their different strengths, and the MLS has hyper local data that I want to use to make sure I pick out the best comps possible. So that's how you would plug in a known property. You can use the address or the MLS listing ID. Otherwise, you can search right here inside of RPR. You're going to select what type of property you want. Is it a single family, condo, lot and land? All the options are here. And then what type of status do you want to pull in? Are you comparing it across the other active properties, pending, pending but contingencies, which they call active under contract, closed, withdrawn, expired, canceled, right? Most of us, when we're doing a CMA, we're pulling it against the active, pending, pending, contingent, and closed, right? And then you can even ask for it to exclude distress. A lot of times we go to pull this and we're like, whoa, why is this property so low? What's throwing the value here? Well, it could be a distressed property, right? Like a short sale, foreclosure, anything like that. So you automatically can go ahead and exclude that if you want to. What are you looking for? Something that closed in the last 3 months, something that, pending in the last 3 months, or you can put in a specific date range if you don't like any of the parameters that they've already given you. I like to start out with as close as possible. And if you don't get enough options within the area, right, then we go ahead and we expand it out. Let's look 6 months out. Let's look 12 months out. Your bedrooms, your bathrooms, your square foot, your lot size. You can filter by all of these, or you can choose to not include that when you're searching. Your price range, if you want to keep it within a certain price range, but most of the time we're looking for the price, right? So we don't need this. Year built is always very important. The home that I've pulled up as an example here is a much older home. And then keywords. These are different keywords that you could add in that would pull from MLS data. Most of the time people don't use this. It's a really interesting feature that they do have though. So once you click search, you can see up here on the map, it's pulled in and then it's confirming the facts that we've used. So you can click into each of these. This is something that was closed via the public record. This is something closed as well. All of these different properties, okay? So you can use this map, but you also can scroll down here and view it in list view. So it's got the thumbnail, it's got the basic information, but you can also click into that property. It'll open a separate tab for you, and you can go into the high level detail of each property, okay? Because they've got so much information in here. So if you're really getting into the nitty gritty details, go ahead and open those addresses up. If not, you've got this quick view here, and you can just simply click this, and it'll add it to the comp list, okay? Now, I'm not going with strategy here. I'm showing you guys how to use the tool, right? So I'm just going to click a few here. But what you'll want to do is spend some time with this. Go into each property, look through the photos. If it's ever been listed on the MLS, those photos will be in there. If it's never been listed in the MLS, you're just getting the property record photo and then the Google Street View, okay? But as much data as they can provide you, you'll see in there. As you add these to the list, you'll see on the right-hand side that it will continue to add them. And I've got a few more in here from a comp that I did for the last class that we taught. But once you've got everything loaded in there that you want, you'll go ahead and click update valuation and close. But you'll see even as we continue to work in this list, it's giving us the range. We're at 4.29 thousand to 172,000. Obviously, I've thrown in some wild, crazy outliers in here because that is a very, very wide range. You can start from fresh, remove all comps, but again, once you're done, just go ahead and click update valuation and it'll bring us back to this page. So we've gone ahead and we've confirmed the home facts, we've found our comps, but the most important part here is the adjustments. And I think this is why so many people use RPR, because a lot of times when you're using a CMA tool, it just throws everything into a basket, it finds you the middle number, and it's like, boop, done. There's no customization to it, right? But RPR does give us customization. So they're lining up. This is the subject property, as you can see at the top of the table, the 250 PO Ave that we're analyzing. And these are all of the comps. Now, there's too many to fit on the screen, so we can scroll back and forth between these. But what you can do first and foremost is choose what shows first, what shows second, right? Let's rearrange these. Like I think that if you believe this is a better comp, like this is the best one, it's the closest one, put that first. And you can move these around from depending on how many you have. So first to fifth, because I've chosen five. But what's really, really cool for editing features down here is how does the property compare to the subject? Is it like not close to it at all, or is it like a better match than the other? What this does is gives more weight to this pricing than the other ones. Okay, so it'll tell you this will adjust your subject property by taking away 6,650. So is this property better? Is it worse? In comparison, okay? And this way, you're not having to look at this and do the math, right? Well, this one's got an upgraded kitchen, and well, this one, it needs the bathroom remodeled, right? Let's say this one has the upgraded kitchen and ours doesn't. That's why we put better. That's why, it takes away 6,656. So it's a nice little easy toggle switch, so you're not having to do math for every single little feature. If we say this property is worse than ours, you can see because it's 241,000 that it's adding to the subject property. All right, but again, side by side, it gives you all those details. So if you don't remember each and every property, that's okay. It's got it all here for you. So let's say like one of them had a 3 bedroom, mine only had a 2 bedroom, right? I would say, hey, like this has 3 bedrooms, it's better. This one has only 1 bedroom, it's worse. So you can continue to go through each of these, look through all the data and adjust it. And then it tells you, it asks you, hey, like this was listed on the 21st. Do you want to use the public record or the MLS listing data? And that's the data that it's pulling for this chart. So lots of editable features when you're looking at adjusting all of the comps. It's not just pulling them all into one basket and going, there you go, done. It's really giving you cool features in there. Also, at the bottom, you can add notes and choose whether you want them to be included or not. Like, are the notes just for you or are they for you and your client? Okay. So you could type in here, hey, this one had an upgraded kitchen in comparison. This one, has 2 bedrooms, yours has 3 bedrooms, different things that you can provide to them. Once you're done, go ahead and click update valuation and close. And then that is going to change out via adjustments. So this is showing overall off all the changes we've made. We are $102. It's taken off compared to the average of the comps to how we get here, which is the results of the CMA. So in here, it's going to automatically do this for you, right? Let me click cancel and show you guys real quick again. So we're at the valuation of the property is $121,242 with the range and then the price per square foot. But if you don't believe in those numbers, which you did a lot of work to get to these numbers, you might want to go back and check your data. But if need be, special situations, you can enter in the value and you can enter in the minimum and the maximum. Most of the time, I see what people do is, this is your average number. They'll leave that, but they'll change out the range because that is a wide range. And maybe you're only comfortable with giving like a $10,000 range or a $20,000 range. If you need to edit that, the capability is there. When you are done, you're going to go ahead and click Create Report. And this is the CMA template. All right, so it's going to pull in all of that data, and then it's going to show you what the template looks like. So today is the 30th. We'll just label it class, not let me put dash in there. All right, so you're going to go ahead and label what your report is going to look like, and then it's going to bring you in to the actual report, whether you're going to email it out, print it out, send it to them, however that might be. Customization is totally yours here. So you're going to go through each page and then decide what you want and what you don't want. Like I said, this program can spit out, 80 to 100 pages. But if you don't want all of those, then you just simply unselect the things that you don't want. And then you can also edit some of these pages as well. So you've got the cover sheet, you've got the property summary, which this gives them all the information about their property. If it was previously listed, what it said, what the public record says, all of that. Lots and lots of detail. History, lots of great charts, lots of visuals. Really, these reports are some of the most beautiful reports I've ever seen. The property information, you can see this was the last time that it was listed. The CMA. So these are the 5 properties that you have chosen. And it lays them out in a chart to compare them. If we keep scrolling, it's also going to give exactly what you did with the price adjustments and the changes. And if you added in notes, the notes would be in here as well. It then gives the property detail for each of those CMAs and that, or each of the comparison properties. That is what makes this report so long. But we have those customers, right? Where you give them 5 comps and they're like, well, can you send me the property report on each of those properties? And what's the detail and what color were their sinks? And they want everything on those properties. And this gives them that. Okay. So every photo, every detail, everything that is on each of those 5 properties that you've selected. We'll keep scrolling here, not trying to make you guys dizzy whatsoever. CMA, closed comps. So then it also takes them into charts and gives them a breakdown of like the ones that are pending, the ones that are closed, the ones that are active. Now I selected all closed properties, so that's what's making my report so much shorter. But the map, once you're done, it'll show all of the options on the map. Okay, and then it compares them out, closed prices, where they land, what the low end is, what the average is, what the high end is, average sold price by square foot. I mean, the data that they put into here and the visuals is absolutely stunning. Um, all right, if we keep scrolling here, then we see the pricing strategy. Now, some people like to put in their own pricing strategies. You can certainly do that, but they provide a great one with the price that you've come up with, the range, where the properties land, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really, really cool visuals. So what I suggest for you, because I could sit here and, scroll through this all day, but pull one on your own house, pull one on your own property and do the full report, save it and print it out. See how much data you can really find. You'll be really blown away by the information that you can read up on your own home. And then that gives you a better idea of what you believe is important and what you believe is like not important. So the detail oriented person gets all of these pages, right? They get the whole freaking packet. But if you've got the person who's more of like a D personality, right? When you look at the DISC evaluation of personalities, they don't want all the detail. They're like, just give it to me straight. What's the numbers and what are the comparing properties? You can just simply deselect all of these other pages and give them a shorter report. But come in here, play with all of these pages. You can also, it's really got a lot of customization for that cover page. So it was previously listed, so it's using that listing photo. You can change that out if you don't like the photo it came up with. Google View, if you don't have much to choose from, that's what you get. But then you also can change out all of the information that shows up here, and you can write in a little personal note and it'll add it in here for you. Custom pages. This is if you've got a marketing strategy or a marketing plan, you want to add in an about you, whatever that is that you want to add in to customize this packet, you can simply drop the PDFs here and it'll put it all in here for you in one PDF. You can also add in notes on the property from the beginning and you can select which ones are going to be added. So if I added in notes on the property, they would all display here. Photos, again, this is just displaying all of the photos that pulled in from the property, and you can go ahead and select out which ones you want to show up where. So for historic photos, if you don't want them to all show up on that report, not just the cover page, but later on in the report where it shows everything, you can choose which ones do display and which ones don't display. Location. So the property pin map and how far it's going for, like, there is reports on the census data. It'll show the whole zip code. If you want to use different options there for demographic reports, which is a part of that customization report, then you can change that as well. When you are done, you can simply click save. And every time you come out here, it'll be out here, or you can click download and you will get your PDF. It pulls in all of that data and your PDF will come up in display. I'm zooming at the same time, so that will take a minute. But anytime you come back out to this property, right here at Poe Ave, you see we've got all the details. I come out to CMA, it's saved every time. All right, so your work will always be here. Let's say you build out a CMA for them and they're like, hey, we want to think about it. And then you get a call 6 months later. They're like, hey, do you remember us? We're ready to list now. You can come back out here and edit it up and see where it's changed. But then most of your home details and facts will be in here ready to go for you. And you can see now that it's loading, we've got our full report here. I had a lot of stuff deselected, so I only 35 pages, but the option is there. for you to make how many pages you need and how much detail you really want to give those sellers. So I don't see any questions yet. I'm going to hop into the next tool, which is really, really cool for deciding pricing strategy. But if you have any questions on RPR, let me know and I will hop right back into this screen. So if we go back to our dashboard, where we just came from was RPR. That is the tool that we went through. Another great tool that we have is Domus Analytics. For those of you who were on the MLS Monday we just had, which was about marketing stats, this looks familiar, right? We really in detail went through these three columns. Those columns are just going to give you market stats. So if somebody calls up and they say, hey, like, what's going on in my neighborhood? What does pricing look like? Cool tool for these three. However, Pricing Insights is one of my favorite tools that they offer because this gets very, very specific for conversations that you might be having with sellers or with buyers. And you'll see why, but we'll explain what you need to do first. So we're going to keep with our same example, our 250 Poe Ave property. We're going to say it's a single family residence. And it is in North Fort Myers. And then you want to make sure that you have something selected in every box because you can see right now our chart below is blank. I'm going to go ahead and say select all for now just to make it easy. And then we want to see active, closed, and pending. And we'll just do last month to date. Okay. So once you've got everything in each box selected, you can collapse this so that you've got a bigger view. But if you need to change it at any point, you just go ahead and open this and you can change it out. So what you're now seeing is a chart with a lot of data on it, okay? So the light blue dots here are active properties, the orange dots are closed properties, and the dark blue ones are we got pending, active, and closed. So there's a lot of moving pieces on here, but you can see that it's interactive, right? What this is showing is the average price and then the average price per square foot, right? Because that can be vastly different. And then you can see exactly where those two meet, gives you the median and the meat of those properties. So in here, if they're trying to figure out how to price their home or they're trying to figure out what they should offer, what's normal for that area, this is going to show them exactly what it should be. But the important part of this is you can plug in what you're advising them or what they're thinking, and it's going to also chart that. So first and foremost, let's look at proposed list price, right? So the one that we just came up with was 221 and change, but we'll call it 221 for now. And then the square footage. So if we come back to 250 Poe Ave, the square footage of this is 640 square feet. She's a small one. She's cozy, as realtors would call it. All right, 640 square feet. And then it takes that and it charts this little gray line here for you and shows where you're at, right? This is the average of all of the data. Here's the average of yours. So for this property, we're significantly higher in price per square foot, but we're lower than price overall. And that would make sense, right? Like the properties in that area are more, the average is 325. Okay. But the price per square foot is 189 and ours is 345 because it's such a small home, right? So if we were to just pull a CMA and look at all the properties around, we go, oh, great. Yeah, you could totally list it at this price. And then you didn't even look at the square footage and you're like, holy crow, it's like half the size of these other houses. This puts it into perspective for them, right? Because your sellers are going to say to you, like, hey, I want to be priced over here. Like, this is where the bulk of the data is. Like, I want to be priced at 370,000. Well, okay, but when you look at your square footage, here's where you land amongst the stars. Okay. So you can continue to adjust this. You tell them, hey, I really think that we need to knock that price down. They say, well, I'm only willing to bring it down like 10,000. We'll put it down to 210. And you can see how much it's adjusted down. So you can continue to play with this, whether it's for your own research or a conversation you're having with them. I loved bringing this up at listing appointments because, again, they're shooting for the moon. You're trying to stay with reality. So You can continue to play around with this until you get to a good number. Now, let's say you are looking at this chart and they're like, well, what about these people? Like, come on, like they're closed, right? That's an active one, that's a pending one. Like, hey, they went under contract. How come they went under contract? I want $2 million for my house. Well, when you click on the dot, it's going to give you the basic information down here. So you can go ahead, copy the MLS number and pull up that listing and say, yo, like they're on the Caloosahatchee. They've got a boat dock, they've got a pool, they've got, all the crazy things. So lots of data on this chart. Great way to sit down and have a conversation where you're comparing the price and the square footage of the home. Now, you can, if you wanted to, print this out and send it to them, add it into your CMA that you might be doing. But for the most part, this really is just a conversation piece and something that you can sit down and work with them on, right? Something interactive that gives them that visual. A lot of us, like, we just see numbers and we're like, but, well, you put it on the chart like this, really puts it into perspective. So again, this is inside of Domus Analytics, and it's this last one right here, Pricing Insights. So next, what we're going to do is hop over into Remine. Remine is another data tool that pulls in MLS and public data, and it does a CMA. Now, the Remine CMA is also visually pleasing. However, it is a much more condensed CMA, and it's a shorter process. So if you're looking for something very detail oriented, you're going to want to go over to RPR. Get this loaded. You're going to want to go over to RPR. But if you're looking to grab something really quick and you prefer Remine's searching capabilities, then you can come over here. The reason we have multiple tools is because one, our realtors all have different personalities and different needs. Two, all of your customers have different personalities and different needs, right? So I will tell you, everybody says, well, what's your favorite for CMAs? Well, it depends on what your situation is. I used Remind when I needed to grab something quick for that person that just wanted, like, hey, I just want an idea. I don't need all the details. But if I was sitting down with somebody who needed hand holding, I was out on RPR and then I was pulling the data in MLS. I used all of them. And, sometimes we get calls and they say, well, why can't everything be in one great tool? Well, because everybody can't do everything, and you've got all these multiple tools so that you can conduct the research the best that you need. So in this, pulling up 250 Poe Ave again, if we scroll down, you can see all the details of the property, right? So you can start your research here if you like Remind's layout better. However, their CMA button is up here on the top right. So you can create a Remind CMA. This is for free. This is included in your membership here at Florida Gulf Coast. If you pay for Cloud CMA, you'll go into your settings and connect your Cloud CMA account, and you can use this tool to pull into your Cloud CMA. You can also see that I have done a CMA before, so I can come out here and edit it or delete it if I wanted to. But if you want to start fresh, you'll click into this. And I won't go through every step with you guys right now because we just did that in our PR, but a lot of the same thing, right? You're going to go through and you're going to confirm the comparable criteria that you want. You're running your search. When you're done with that, you will get all of your results, right? This looks very familiar. We've got a map. We've got a full list here. What they do is they automatically add all these into your report. The ones that you don't want, you're just going to go through here and click remove. If you remove the wrong one, you can simply add it back. Once you've gone through and you've selected all the ones that you do like, you click into the details, you've done your research, you've really, really given your seller, your buyer the time that they would appreciate. You're going to come in here next to customize report, save and continue. You can select a color scheme. You can upload your company logo. You can tell the last time I did this, it may have been Christmas, guys. We've got red and green. All right. You can change out your company logo. If you need to change out your photo because you hadn't already done it over here in your settings, then you can do that. Save and continue. It's going to show you the report. So you can just bring this up with them and scroll through it with them. It is very visually pleasing right here inside of the dashboard. Lots of information, but not nearly as much as RPR, right? This is more for like that simple, quick view. When you're done, you can click print. That will give you a PDF, right? So you can either print it out or you can email it over to them and label it out for that. So a great way to get a quick report if you're again, more favorable to Remind, they've got the option in there. If you're more favorable to RPR, then that is there for you. What I do want to show you in the last 15 minutes, however, is we do have a CMA that is right inside of Matrix. Now, I said Matrix and our MLS is going to have more hyperlocal data. So if you are working with a property that's got like pool and waterfront and all of the Florida features that everybody's looking for, and you want to get something that's going to be more close representation to that property, for sure do your search inside of your search inside of Matrix. But I've heard from a lot of people where they're like, well, it's just not visually pleasing. You can do your search here and then copy it over to either RPR or Remind because their reports are really beautiful. You can simply start with your search just as you would for, if you're looking for properties for a buyer. And we would say single family. Let's do closed acting and pending. I'll do 33917. And I'm just going to put in some simple stuff for this. So 2 bedroom, 1 bath. You can see we've got 204 results and it's like, holy crow, that's too many. Not waterfront, not golf access. So let's look at stuff that's just gone in the past. We'll be crazy here and just put the last 12 days. So once you've got everything that you need, you click results. Everybody's done the search before, unless you're brand new, go watch the video on how to do a search. And then you're going to select out the properties that you want included in your CMA, right? Let's say these are our most closely represented properties that we want included. You've got two different options here inside of Matrix. One is quick CMA, and then two is the full-blown CMA. Quick CMA is my favorite thing for if you're not doing like a listing presentation and somebody just needs quick data, right? We used to have like customers that would call in, like we closed on their house months ago, and they're like, hey, I need like a CMA done for insurance or for a loan, or this is something cool where it's like, I don't need to give you the whole show. I don't need to wow you. Here's hard data, here's hard facts, here's a one-sheeter, right? So it gives the properties and it would break them down by, I selected all active properties, right? I didn't scroll, I didn't find the pending and the closed, but it would break them down whether they were active, pending, or sold. It'll give you medians, minimums, maximums, average, and then a quick little synopsis here at the bottom. Great way to just grab quick numbers for those weird situations you might find yourself in. However, if you're doing the full-blown CMA, come over here and click CMA, and it will pull you into the CMA. Very much like the last several programs that we went through, it's going to ask you what pages you want included. It's going to have you confirm your subject property. It's going to go through your cover sheet. It's going to go through the comparables. It's going to show you the map options. If you want to make any adjustments, you'll discuss pricing, and then you'll finish it out and you will get a report just the same as you did in these other ones. But again, if you're using MLS for the hyperlocal data, great feature here. What I do want to show you guys though, is we will be upgrading the entire CMA platform here in the next month. So for those of you who took our MLS Monday last year, we did a sneak preview where we got like a one-time access code. We walked through the whole thing. And I want to just show you guys what it's going to look like really quick, because it fills the whole screen and it's color coded. For those of us that are blind, it's a much bigger font. It's beautiful. The reports are a lot more pleasing. And again, this will be coming to you guys in the next month. So this is a list of all the different CMAs that I've done, but we'll take a look at what the editing looks like so you can see the difference. So instead of those tiny little tabs and it was filling half the screen before, you can see here that it fills the whole screen. It's a lot more interactive. When you start the process too, it'll ask you, do you want me to find you the properties or would you like to find them yourself? And you can say, hey, yeah, find me 10 properties. And if you do that, when you get to here, you can choose which ones you want to get rid of, which ones you want to keep. But there is a lot of different options here. You've got the map version, if this will load. Let's go back here. I did not finish this one out. But you can spend a lot more time in this one choosing your comps. It's a lot more integrated in the data. So this is the map feature here where you can look at the map view, decide, hey, like this property is too far away. These ones are closer. The comparison gives you a side by side of all of the data. Okay, so you can remove ones that you don't believe are good fits, the full property information. So if you wanted to look at just hard data, you could, and you could click into each property, and clicking the X will get rid of them. Or you can look at a summary view. Okay, these are really cool. So the timelines by it, well, it's a timeline view is what it's called, but this would show you pricing, where each of those lands on the pricing, where they land in comparison to square feet, and then price per square feet. Really cool. So if you've got one that's like a complete outlier, right? Go ahead and get rid of it. Well, this is my actual subject property. Um, but if one of these were way off base, you could go ahead and get rid of them. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to compare the data, right? Is it map related? Is it in the details? Is it in the full property report? Are we looking for like the built out kitchen? What is it that we're trying to compare that makes this property so special? And then we've really done a thorough job of making sure we have exactly what properties are going to be pulled into that comparison. When you're done picking out all of the property comparisons, you're going to go into the personalized feature. And then this is where you will build out the actual visual for the customer. You'll decide what pages you want in here. You'll be able to edit those pages, and you can see, like, look at how much prettier this is. I just get so obsessed with these things, and I know I totally nerd out over it. But lots of things in here. You'll also be able to add your own PDFs, right? Again, if you have like the about me or the marketing strategy, whatever it is that you might have, you can come out here and do this. What's really cool is you can reset it, right? Back to factory resettings, or you can set as default so that every single time you do a CMA, this is what shows up. Like if that's your jive and that's what you do, and you're like, yep, every time these are the pages, and then I upload all my marketing ones. You don't have to recreate the wheel every single time you come out here to do a CMA. All right. And then they have the share options as well. So you can just grab the PDF or you can send it right here out of Matrix. So another really, really cool, great tool for you guys to use. Now, I know I've probably way overdone it and your brains are like, oh my gosh. But it's really important for you guys to know that there's so much out there for you guys to do what you need to do every day. So I know that you're getting calls constantly, whether it's your buyers or your sellers, and they want to talk pricing, and you're talking to people who are in Cape Coral, and then you're down in Naples, and you're in Fort Myers, and trying to do justice for everybody is making sure you're using the right tools so that you're having the right conversations with people, whether it's a full-blown CMA, it's just some quick data, or maybe it's using the pricing strategy chart there to have a hands-on conversation with your customers. I hope that you guys picked up on something today. If you start to play with these tools and you get lost at all, most of them do have help buttons right at the top. All of these vendors have their own set of staff, but you also have your own staff right here at MLS. So you can call in. The entire team is ready to help you out and find the answers for you. You can also email us at mls@rpcra.org. So I look forward to hopefully seeing most of you at TechCon tomorrow. If I don't, then I will see you at our next MLS Monday. I hope you have a fabulous week.